All right, welcome back to the Friday Show. I'm Scott Jagow along with Ray Paulick. It's Friday, June 26th. So glad to have you with us. Coming up, we'll talk more about American Pharoah's likely path this summer and fall. But first, the Paulick Report's Natalie Voss had a piece this week about the Humane Society of the United States, the animal welfare group that's partnering with the Breeders' Cup and Jockey Club on anti-doping legislation. There's been a few eyebrows raised about having an animal welfare group partnering with racing. Ray, what do you think about it?
Well, I was surprised when they first came out with the partnership with the Humane Society. But the more I've learned about them through Natalie's stories and just word of mouth, the more I think it's a good idea. The Humane Society is very good at lobbying. This is something they've done, changing laws for the benefit of animals. They're not anti-racing, just like they're not out there trying to turn all of us into vegans and, stop eating meat and that sort of thing. They are in favor of the best practices to benefit the animals.
Please take action to end horse slaughter.
They're not going to try to shut racing down, as I said, but they can be a very important ally going forward with this legislation, which is already a long shot that it will pass in the first place.
I'm not going to say that they're entirely trustworthy as an organization because they have used a few deceptive practices in their fundraising commercials where they don't actually operate or oversee animal shelters, but you still see a lot of dogs and cats weeping in animal shelters. So if racing were to go away, I'm sure the Humane Society would not be that upset about it. They can be a liaison between the racing industry and Congress, and I think that is a very important thing right now.
The public has a different outlook on the treatment of animals than it did 15, 20, 30 years ago. So change is coming. It's a matter of how do you want to make the change? Do you want to make the change on your own, under your terms, or do you want to have somebody do it for you? I think that this legislation appointing an independent, non-governmental agency to regulate the medication rules in horse racing is the way to go.
Racing throughout history has been so resistant to change, and it's come back to bite the industry several times. First of all, when television came along and the racetracks were afraid of it because they thought attendance would drop. Well, that was dumb. The NFL embraced TV right away and took off. Simulcasting came along and the racing industry was afraid of that. We can't do that anymore. The public is more aware of animal welfare issues, and unless we want to choke on the exhaust of the consequences, we better be proactive.
And I think to control your own fate, to put an independent body in charge of this is a much better alternative than having the government say, okay, we're going to regulate your sport. We don't need that.
All right, we seem to agree on the basic premise here. What do you think? Take our poll on the homepage, paulickreport.com, and let us know if you think it's a good idea or not to have the HSUS partner with the Breeders' Cup and Jockey Club on this legislation.
All right, well, we all know where American Pharoah is right now. He's at Santa Anita. They're going to parade him on Saturday. Santa Anita will be giving out free T-shirts of the horse. But where is he going to be the next time he races? That's the question. We asked last week, should American Pharoah make his next start against older horses or stay in the 3-year-old division that he's dominated? 55% of you said stay in the 3-year-old division. I disagree, but I think you're right. To me, his path will be the Haskell at Monmouth Park, August 2nd. 7 weeks later at Parks in Philadelphia, he'll go in the Pennsylvania Derby, and 6 weeks after that, finally against older horses in the Breeders' Cup Classic.
I don't think it's the most exciting race schedule in terms of competition. It's pretty much a parade for American Pharoah in those first couple. And I also wonder about the travel schedule because he's going to go from California to New Jersey. Then possibly would he go back to California and then back to Pennsylvania and then to Kentucky? So it would be a lot of travel. But I know that once he arrives in Kentucky for the Breeders' Cup Classic, that's where he'll stay. My hashtag of the week is the ESPYs. American Pharoah is up for an ESPY. Victor Espinoza, his jockey, is as well, but that's in the jockey category, so that's an every year kind of thing. But Pharoah is in the best championship performance category. He's got a little tougher road than Espinoza. He's going up against LeBron James. Now, LeBron James did lose the NBA Finals, but it was a pretty impressive performance because it looked like he was playing the Golden State Warriors by himself. However, I'm hoping that the voters will give Pharoah his due and he can pull this one out. And in fact, you can vote. So racing fans, step up to the plate for American Pharoah and vote him an ESPY.
Okay, how can you vote for LeBron James? The Cleveland Cavaliers lost. It's about winning. Just win, baby. That's what American Pharoah did. All he did was win.
That's true. Can't argue with that. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of the Friday Show. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.